doesn't look like a walkover at all.
All right, gentlemen. It appears there is no longer legal encumbrances for the commencement of student loan in Nigeria. On Wednesday, President Bola Tinubu signed the National Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act, Bill 2024, into law at a short ceremony at the State House in Abuja, witnessed by the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibrin, the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, and other top government officials. President Tinubu said no Nigerian will be excluded from obtaining quality education. Before we discuss this, let's share the story by TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde with you.
President Bola Tinubu signs the much-anticipated student loan bill. This is a fulfillment of a promise made in his renewed hope agenda. This will also bring Nigeria closer to achieving Goal 4 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that seeks to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. President Bola Tinubu had on the 14th of March written to the National Assembly to repeal and reenact the student loan bill. His desire was given quick consideration and approval. Now the buck stops on the table of the President Tinubu-led executive arm of government to begin the implementation of this policy.
We are determined to ensure education is given the proper attention necessary for the country, including skill development programs.
This new law signed by President Tinubu will establish a corporate body to receive, manage and invest funds to provide loans to Nigerians for higher education, vocational training and skills acquisition, and for related matters.
Those who are seeking skills, who are seeking to be skilled, to be empowered, to move on with their lives. So it's a very great day for the country.
Nigerian students that I represent, we are happy. We see Mr. President's commitment to the development of education. And today, the entire education system is happy.
There's a growing support for this new law resonating across the country, especially among youth who are the sole beneficiaries, as the student loan scheme will build an army of skilled workforce that can easily become self-employed and increase the country's productive base.
It's actually a work on development, and when you look at the impact, especially to the Nigerian students, who are going to be the greatest beneficiary of this initiative.
Rightly shape the educational institution and the educational sector.
The federal government initially announced that the scheme would be launched in September last year, but this suffered several delays, leading to an indefinite postponement. The presidency said the delay was because of a directive from President Tinubu to expand the scheme to include loans for vocational skills. It is expected that this new law will significantly increase access to tertiary education and skills acquisition. Femi Akonde, TVC News.
Thank you very much for staying with us and welcome back to Journalist Angles. Gentlemen, before we went on that break, we saw a story about the President's student loan. And it appears that this is finally happening. One of the presidents promised to revitalize education in Nigeria. Doctor?
Well, it's a good one. Even before the president signed the amended bill into law on Wednesday, I've read a few things that I also think that we need to start correcting this impression among Nigerians. On the social media, I saw people who went there and said only 5 billion naira was budgeted for the loan for 1 year. I think what the 5 billion is supposed to do is like a seed money. You begin with this. As you exhaust it, certainly more provisions will be made. Then number 2.
Even the National Assembly increased it by itself to 50 billion.
To 50.
So what they are saying is not correct.
Very incorrect. Sorry, I forgot to mention.
National Assembly had
50 billion.
Has the power of appropriation.
Yeah.
They moved it to 50 billion.
And unlike some government...
From the money meant for the yacht.
Yes, that was what
people should also not forget that it wasn't President Tinubu that asked for a luxury yacht. It was already demanded for in the previous administration.
Yeah.
And they said that it is for carrying high caliber guests of the president to let them see the waterways and all that. But in the end, they said the National Assembly went against it, and the money meant for it was put into student loan. Some of these things you read about, you just know that it's mischief. And there is a lot of ignorance peddling on social media. People who don't read to understand. Yeah. They say a lot of things. People who are perceptive, who have been following this student loan thing, know that it is 50 billion. But they are still talking about, oh, he gave 50 billion, yet he gave a subsidy for Hajj for 90 billion. One person starts something. People will not go and check whether that person is saying the truth. They will just continue to magnify it. It's a tragedy.
Because even the one for the Hajj was not a gift. It wasn't a gift. It wasn't as if I'm sponsoring you people to Hajj. You take this money, 90 billion. That's not what happened with it. And then number 2, thanks BKO for the quick reminder, is the fact that some people went and added the whole number of students in Nigeria and divided the 5 billion by them. And then you begin to wonder, is it every student who wants this loan? It's not every student. So the parents who can send their children to private schools obviously won't need this kind of loan.
They don't.
Obviously. Even me, most of those.
Students in private universities, for example. Ireland, they've been asking for it, just the same way that private institutions are asking for, what is it called, TED fund.
TED fund, yeah. TED fund. Private universities are asking for it.
How do you do that? You have the funds already. If you are paying, like some of the very expensive ones, like Baba Febala's University, for example, why would a student whose parents can pay 2 million?
Even 7.5 million for medicine. 8 million, 9 million for medicine, pharmacy. How will a parent like that say, I want you to give me a loan? It's almost impossible, you know. And then you now come to think of it. If everybody is not taking that loan, there are safeguards that have been made in the... A student cannot just wake up on his own, except he goes to, get another father and mother to get that loan. Because we know some students who are mischievous. They will even spend their own school fees if given to them. They will spend their fees. So those students can go there to say, okay, I'm poor, give me this loan. But they can't get it because there are safeguards in it. And people should truly understand that. And then the fact that the loan is not meant to be paid immediately you receive it. It's even a good one for Nigeria. It's a good one. Because
when you start work.
When you start work, and you would even, it's not as if it's immediate. You would have worked for about 2 years.
After youth service.
After youth service. So I think we should see some good in the country.
If you have not found a job, you constantly inform the board.
Yes, even after 2 years.
Found a job. So I just like the fact that the president didn't pass the earlier bill. It was sent back because there were issues that they wanted to address. The bill in that original form was not complete. There were issues, governance issues, sustainability issues that have now been addressed. You look at even the eligibility criteria, method of application, repayment provisions, recovery of loans, which is important for this scheme to succeed. The ability to recover loans is very important. They've now used, in the Re-Enactment bill, they've addressed those issues, the governance and management issues, for example. Now, the Act separates the governance function from the management operations of NEL Fund by establishing the board of directors with a chairman and secretary. And that board shall have representatives from universities, from polytechnics, from colleges of education, from students of tertiary institutions, the organized private sector, and some agencies under the ministry, Federal Ministry of Education, like MBTE, the rest of them. So, and the management team shall also be led by managing director, including executive directors, who will be responsible for the day-to-day running of the scheme. And the president shall be the one who appoints the board of management, you know, and the board of in terms of the funding, it will come from 1% of all taxes and levies and duties collected by the FIRS. Because I've been asking, how are we going to find the money to keep this going? These are things that have been sorted out in the second bill. And of course, the matter of guarantor, that as an eligibility requirement has been removed. So once as a student you fulfilled the eligibility criteria, you don't need a guarantor. You are free to access the loan once you've met the stipulations, the conditions that have been set. You don't need a guarantor. I'm very happy. What that means is that even the children of the poorest, as long as they've met the terms, they can access the loan. So it's a good thing, and for me, it's a happy day, because I read on social media that, oh, it's an audio student loan, this and that. And you see, because some of us are extremely enamored by negativity. We don't, it is negativity that titillates many of us. So there are some people that people like to go to their walls because they know that person represents negativity. They want to go to his wall on Facebook so that they can ventilate. They can ventilate the negativity in them. The negativity in them. And I see, oh, there's an audio loan. It will not happen. The same way they are saying that this refinery in Port Harcourt will never start work. As long as the Lord lives, that refinery will start work because we need it to work. Whether it is a marginal reduction that it will cost to happen on petrol prices, let that refinery work. This student loan, the president has signed it into law now. So we are ready for the takeoff. Those who think that it will never happen, before their eyes, even if they shut their eyes, they will still get the realization that this student loan thing will happen. If President Tinubu can do this student loan, it will be one of the major achievements of his administration. People still talk gloriously about Awolowo today, because Awolowo came with the idea of free education. And if not for free education, many of the people today that you see, many of our leaders today, they wouldn't have gone to school. They wouldn't have gone to school if not for free education. So this one, I remember this famous lawyer, Awomolo, saying, that this student loan thing, that when he was growing up, he benefited from it. And he was praying that it should happen this time. Many years down the line, people who benefit from this scheme will be grateful to the people who came up with the idea, the Bajabia Millers of this world, and the president who has made it happen. So we can't wait for it to kick off so that poor people, because it also, the loan is not simply for school fees. It is also for the upkeep. Part of the money will also be for the upkeep of the student. while in school. It's not simply, oh, we give you this money for you to pay school fees and levies. No, your general upkeep, which means that you can pay, you can feed yourself in it, you can buy clothes. General upkeep, textbooks, the things that you need. So it's a very significant development, and I'm waiting for it to kick off so that. Yeah.
Doctor, another interesting adjustment to this loan is that is the removal of parental loan history disqualification, which a lot of persons are happy about.
Yeah, which is good. In Nigeria now, I'm not sure that there is any family you go into that you won't have somebody who is servicing a loan. Especially parents, it's difficult surviving. And in reality, it's one of the reasons I'm very happy that that money is not going into the hand of either the students or the parents. It's going to the source where it's going to be utilized, which is the school. If this money will go into those hands, a lot of it would have
diverted.
Would have been, in fact,
the same way they diverted what was this CBN anchor bars. Many of them formed fake cooperatives just to access the money. They got the money, they used it for politics.
So it's something that makes me happy, because a lot of Nigerians are under pressure. So anywhere loans can, that's why a lot of people fall victim of these loan sharks. So easy to do, because when you're under pressure, you can take money from even the devil. As much as we detest him in this part of the world, we can take money from there. So it's a good one that these things have been properly sorted out. You know, I was happy when I learned that that bill was sent back. Even after the signing, I was happy, because those gaps needed.
It shows the president listens.
Yeah, it shows those gaps. If those loopholes, if they were not blocked, would have been in trouble with that loan.
Yes.
Because people just have
not survived.
And then the other part of it for me is we keep praying that, like other things that were good, for instance, the Uncle's Bola program that we mentioned now, it's a good concept, but people went in and used it, rubbished it, and used it for the wrong reasons. I pray that we don't have people already waiting to ensure this doesn't work.
We can't stop people.
You know?
We have to create the buffers that will ensure that they cannot
do anything about it.
But there are some people who will not know.
They are always waiting.
They are thinking,
thinking negatively. Negatively.
So their own is, let us see how this thing will. In fact, if they are not careful, some people want to hack into their funds.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that the law also talks about a diversified pool for funding.
Yeah.
So it's not, they are not going to look at just one area as the means of sourcing funds. The law mandates the NEL funds to look at a diversified pool of funding. So I'm confident that steps have been taken to bridge the gaps that were inherent in the earlier bill and to guarantee the sustainability